What if the greatest weapon you ever had was the lie you were taught as a child? Imagine spending your entire life learning how to manipulate people, steal without being noticed, and become whoever the situation demands. Now imagine those same skills are the only reason you're still alive. That's exactly where Lucky finds herself in episode 3 of Lucky, titled Read the Room. But this isn't just another crime thriller filled with guns and betrayals. This episode asks a far more interesting question. Can someone ever escape the life they were trained to live? And by the time this episode ends, one shocking reunion changes the entire direction of the story. So grab your popcorn, settle in, and let's break down everything hidden inside episode 3. By the third episode, Lucky finally stops trying to impress us with constant twists and starts trusting its characters instead. The first 2 episodes were all about survival. Lucky woke up alone, betrayed by the one person she trusted, with millions of dollars missing and several dangerous people hunting her down. Episode 3 slows that frantic pace, not because the danger has disappeared, but because now the real battle isn't running away. It's figuring out who can still be trusted. And in this world, that answer changes every 5 minutes. The episode is called Read the Room. At first, it sounds like simple advice. Pay attention. Watch people carefully. Know when to speak. Know when to stay quiet. But as the story unfolds, the title becomes much deeper. Every major character believes they understand the people around them. Priscilla thinks she knows how to control fear. Agent Rand believes she's closing in on her target. John thinks he can still control his daughter from behind prison walls. Lucky believes she's always the smartest person in every room she enters. But what happens next proves that reading a room and understanding people are 2 very different things. One of the biggest reasons this show works is Anya Taylor-Joy. Most thrillers try to make their protagonist someone audiences immediately root for. Lucky isn't that person. She's charming, she's intelligent, she's resourceful, but she's also a professional liar. She manipulates strangers without hesitation. She steals from people who have never wronged her. She constantly reinvents herself. And somehow, you still can't stop watching. That's because the show never pretends Lucky is innocent. Instead, it asks us to understand why she became this way. Every smile she gives, every fake identity she creates, every conversation she carefully controls. They're survival skills, not personality traits. And that's an important distinction. Even though John spends this episode behind bars, his influence is impossible to escape. Every decision Lucky makes carries his fingerprints. He's more than her father. He's the architect of the woman she's become. Years earlier, he didn't teach Lucky how to avoid trouble. He taught her how to survive inside it. How to watch people, how to notice details everyone else misses, how to disappear in plain sight. To John, deception isn't wrong. It's simply another tool. That complicated relationship makes every phone call between them fascinating. On one hand, it's obvious John genuinely loves his daughter. On the other, he's also the person responsible for placing her in this impossible situation. It's a toxic bond built on affection, manipulation, and years of shared crimes. One thing episode 3 does brilliantly is remind us that Lucky isn't the only one making calculations. Every major player has their own agenda. Priscilla isn't simply chasing money. She's trying to protect her family while answering to people even more dangerous than herself. Agent Rand isn't just investigating another criminal. Her pursuit feels deeply personal. Even John's advice isn't completely selfless. Everyone claims they're trying to help. Everyone claims they know the best path forward. But if there's one lesson this episode teaches us early, it's that every piece of advice comes with hidden motives. Most crime dramas build tension with shootouts. Lucky builds tension with conversations. Almost every interaction feels like a poker game. Nobody says exactly what they mean. Nobody reveals everything they're thinking. The challenge isn't surviving violence. The challenge is figuring out who's bluffing. And that's exactly why the episode feels so different from a traditional action thriller. Every smile becomes suspicious. Every compliment feels dangerous. Every silence hides another secret. By now, Lucky has stopped reacting to events. She's starting to anticipate them. Instead of simply escaping danger, she's learning how to manipulate it. That shift changes everything. Because from this point onward, she's no longer just prey. She's becoming a hunter. But there's one problem. The people hunting her have been playing this game much longer than she has. And before long, one decision forces Lucky onto a collision course with the one person she's been searching for since the very beginning. But before she gets there, she'll have to prove she's still the smartest person in the room. And trust me,
as the episode moves forward, one thing becomes crystal clear. Everyone is chasing someone, but nobody is chasing the same goal. Lucky is desperate to find Cary. Priscilla wants both her son and the missing fortune. Agent Rand is focused on dismantling Priscilla's criminal empire. And John, even from prison, he's still trying to direct every move Lucky makes. What's fascinating here is that the episode slows down to let conversations do the heavy lifting. Every interaction feels like a chess match, with each character hiding their real intentions behind carefully chosen words. Meanwhile, Lucky proves once again why she's survived this long. Rather than relying on violence, she relies on observation. She adapts to every situation, blends into unfamiliar environments, and reads people better than they read themselves. But what happens next changes everything. The closer Lucky gets to Cary, the harder it becomes to separate her mission from her emotions. Her father warns her not to let revenge cloud her judgment, but by now it's becoming obvious that following his advice may be impossible. Just when Lucky believes she's finally about to recover everything she lost, the story takes another unexpected turn. Instead of finding easy answers, she discovers that the situation is far more complicated than she imagined. The episode reminds us that in this world, money isn't the only thing people are fighting over. Trust, loyalty, and survival have become just as valuable. One of the smartest things Episode 3 does is avoid making any character completely good or completely evil. Priscilla shows genuine concern for her family. Agent Rand's obsession hints at a much deeper history. John continues blurring the line between loving father and master manipulator, and Lucky herself becomes increasingly difficult to define. Is she a victim, a criminal, or simply someone trying to survive the consequences of other people's choices? That's exactly the question the episode wants us to ask. The final moments deliver the confrontation viewers have been waiting for. Without relying on explosive action, the episode builds suspense through silence and uncertainty. More importantly, it shifts the story into an entirely new phase. From this point forward, every major player is heading toward the same destination, making future conflict feel inevitable. What makes Episode 3 stand out isn't a shocking twist. It's the way it deepens every relationship while reminding us that appearances can be dangerously misleading. The title, Read the Room, becomes the episode's central message. Success doesn't belong to the strongest person. It belongs to the one who understands everyone else before they understand themselves. Overall, Episode 3 may be quieter than the opening chapters, but it's also more confident. It slows down to explore its characters, strengthen the mystery, and prepare the audience for the chaos that's clearly on the horizon. If the series continues building on this momentum, Lucky has all the ingredients to become one of the year's most compelling crime thrillers. What did you think of Episode 3? Do you trust Cary, or do you think he's hiding an even bigger secret? Let me know your theories in the comments below.